We now senior political analyst and former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum. Rick, great to have you on.
Thank you, Shannon. Good to be with you.
Let's get to this right off the top. The president said last night that Israel and the United States both were going to be targeted by Iran had we not acted and gone in. Let's listen.
Those weapons were aimed at Middle Eastern countries that had nothing to do with this. They were going to take over the Middle East and they were going to try and destroy Israel. So we stopped it with good timing, and we're very proud to be involved in this, and it's going to be ended soon. And if it starts up again, they'll be hit even harder.
And he went on to say that America would be targeted next. Steve Witkoff, Rick, reported that in his first meeting, in that first round of talks with Iranian negotiators, they stated that they had the inalienable right to enrich uranium to weapons grade, saying that they controlled 460 kilos of uranium at 60% enrichment, and they could have been at 90% within 10 days. That was 10 days away from having 10 to 11 nuclear bombs. Why are we still talking or wrangling or questioning about why we went in?
Well, we shouldn't have been questioning, and frankly, we shouldn't be questioning for quite a long time. Iran has been very, very clear. One of the things you learn in politics is when your enemy says they're going to do something, you should probably believe them. And for a long time, Iran has said that they want to develop that they're going to develop a nuclear weapon and that they're going to use it to destroy the great Satan, which is the United States, and the little Satan, which is Israel. And their objective is to, through their terror proxies and through their IRGC, which is their military, to conquer the Middle East and beyond. This is what the regime is for. This is their theocracy. This is what the purpose of what these mullahs have been saying now for 50 years. And we choose to ignore it, even though Iran has killed more American soldiers in the field than any other country in the last 50 years. So the bottom line is you either believe these people for what they are doing and what they say they're going to do, and you stop them from doing it, or you pay a very big price by not doing so. And so I give the president huge high marks for his willingness to take this political risk and do something that should have been done a long time ago, which is stop these theocrats from their date with Armageddon, which is what they want to do.
The world did seem to exhale yesterday when the president said that this is going to be a short operation. Everyone seemed to be relieved. The market seemed to be relieved. Oil prices immediately started to come down. Those comments seem to be pretty well timed.
Yeah, the bottom line is, you look at oil prices today. Oil prices are around $90 to $100, and people say, oh, it's really high. Well, when Russia invaded Ukraine, they were $143 a barrel. Back in 2008, they were $217 a barrel in today dollars. The reality is prices are a little high, but given what is at stake, given what we're trying to accomplish, what we're doing, which is taking out the greatest malign force in the Middle East, and frankly, one of the greatest malign forces in the world, one of the most active malign forces in the sense that they actually project power and they actually do things to harm Americans and have for, like I said, 50 years. The fact that we are doing something about it now, this is a very small price to pay. And you got to give President Trump credit. The reason oil prices are not very high here in the U.S. is simply because, unlike Joe Biden during the Russian invasion, we have allowed our oil production to dramatically expand. We are now an exporter of oil. There is no oil shortage in the United States. There will be no oil shortage in the United States. And as a result, prices are not going to get out of control no matter how long this lasts.
Plus, we're seeming to get control of the strait there, Strait of Hormuz. A few tankers are starting to move through as we came to air this morning. We did have an expert on, Rick, a couple of days ago, said he believes there may already be special operations, boots on the ground inside Iran. The president said yesterday, we're nowhere near U.S. boots on the ground when he was talking to press. How would that next step, if it were to come to that, how would it play inside the Beltway and, frankly, beyond?
I don't think the president's going to put any kind of fighting force on the ground in Iran. They might put boots on the ground to facilitate and help the Iranian resistance to take on the regime. I mean, there may be, and I think there has to be some sort of Israeli-U.S. effort to arm the folks within Iran to take on the IRGC. In spite of all the work that's being done, and it's tremendous work, and Pete Hexas is right, they've done a great job degrading the ability of the Iranian government to suppress its people. But it's a huge force, and they have lots of weapons. And the resistance has no weapons. And so at some point, we have to do something to help these resistance fighters take on their regime. And that's going to probably require some handoff or some people on the ground in Iran.
All right. We're watching it closely, and certainly the president continues commenting on it almost on the daily. The president did call on Congress to get the Save America Act passed. He was pretty emphatic last night. Listen.
So I'm making my biggest plea tonight. It'll make you, and I'm not doing it for this reason at all. It'll guarantee the midterms. It'll guarantee the midterms. If you don't get it, big trouble, my opinion. If you get this, your midterms, and they know it. For two reasons. Number one, they won't be able to cheat. And number two, the people are demanding it.
The president talking to a group of Republican leaders yesterday afternoon. That comment also, of course, on the heels of that pledge over the weekend on Truth that he made, saying he's not going to sign another piece of legislation until the Save America Act hits his desk. Is he right? Does the passage of this bill guarantee midterms, Rick?
I don't believe it does. I mean, the president is obviously doing his best to pitch for this legislation. But remember, I think it's 37 states right now have the equivalent of the Save America Act, which is requiring voter ID. There are, a dozen states or so that do not. Most of those states are pretty blue states where there are not a lot of competitive House races or Senate races in play. So I'm not sure that the midterms are. But look, I understand the president's making his pitch and he's going to do his best to try to get people to do it. The problem is you need Democratic votes in the United States Senate. You're not going to get them. And so it's just not going to pass the U.S. Senate because Democrats have made voter ID, one of the most ridiculous charges, a civil rights act, when in fact the vast majority of black and brown people support the Save America Act. So again, the Democrats are wrapped around the axle that somehow or another requiring people to show ID is racist, and it just shows you how little Democrats think of people who are of color in America. I
got to ask you this before I let you go. You're a former senator from the great state of Pennsylvania. As an American sitting at home, you're watching this, you want this legislation to move. Does my phone call, does my email, does my calling your office, talking to your staff make a difference at all? I got to run, but what do you say?
Yeah, it does make a difference, but the bottom line is you need the majority to pass. I mean, Republicans in the House can't pass bills if they're not in the majority. Republicans in the Senate can't pass bills unless they have a supermajority, and right now they don't. And that's the way the American system has been set up. It's worked actually pretty well, and I think it needs to continue. Elections need to have consequences. You want bills like Save America to pass? Elect more Republicans to the Senate. Simple as that.
And Democrat and independent voters, call your lawmakers today. Senior political analyst, former Pennsylvania Senator Rick Santorum. Great to see you, Rick. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Shannon. You bet.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.